and welcome to Katrina's Creations. This is episode 336, and before we get started, I am wearing my modified flax light. This is a free pattern minus the color work. The color work I just kind of did as I went, but it is a free pattern from Tin Can Knits. It's a raglan sleeve, which means it starts here and angles out. You have increases in the front here and in the back in the same place, and then I just put some design in it. It is intended as a long sleeve sweater, but I made it short sleeve for the summer. It's a very basic pattern that you can do a lot to modify. They have the flax light, which is fingering weight, but they also have a flax sweater, which is worsted weight. So if you want to check out a free pattern that's very versatile, check that out over at Tin Can Knits. So that's where this pattern is from. I do not have any finished objects this week. It has been a little crazy. We're running Vacation Bible School at church every night, and I've been working and I'm getting ready for retirement, so I did not get any finished objects. I did work on a few things, so I will show you what I've been working on this week, but yeah, I didn't get very far. Not too much to show for this week. I did get a little further in my sweater, and this is called Panopia. It's an Expression Fiber Arts pattern. It was free. It's no longer free, but when I got it, it was free. It is can be made as a sleeveless or a sleeved, short sleeve top, and it's kind of lace mesh type of thing at the top. So it starts from the bottom up. So I am at 8 inches. And you can see from my stitch marker, this is how far I've gotten this week, which is maybe 1.5 inches up. I'm doing the front and the back at the same time. The pattern called to do the front and then do the back. But to do that, you have to go knit 1 row, purl 1 row, knit 1 row, purl 1 row, and then you've got to seam the whole thing. So I didn't want to do that. So I put both sides together and I'm just knitting in the round. That way I'm doing a straight knit stitch, because when you knit in the round, you don't do any purls unless you're doing some type of a design. Otherwise, you just knit and it turns out as stockinette stitch. So the yarn I am using is a Knit Crate yarn. This is Uru yarn in its Asher, and the color is called Old Barn. So, and I have mentioned this before, the yarn, it's fairly soft. It is a linen and a cotton, and then it has some man-made fibers in it. But the one thing I am noticing with this, it's a chain ply. I don't know how well that's going to show up. There you can see it. It is a chain ply, as you can see here. And unfortunately, it's not the same thickness all the way around. For the most part, it's a fingering weight, but every so often I'll get a real thin section and then I'll get a real thick section. And as a result, when you're knitting it, it kind of, this sweater did the exact same thing, because this had linen in it as well. This was a linen cotton blend. And it ends up with sections that almost look like you've dropped a stitch and you haven't. It just ends up looking a little off. There you can see it. It has spots that don't look real even. You can see some in here. And it's just due to the fact that, like I said, some spots are thick, some spots are thin. Some of the worst ones I've kind of tried to cut out as I went, just because it was just so noticeable. I like the yarn, but that's just one of the issues with it. So if you do knit with it or crochet with it, just to be aware of it. If you were crocheting something, it probably wouldn't be as noticeable, but because you're knitting and it's fairly dense, especially with this. If you're doing something with finger, or if you're doing like a lace or something, it might not be as noticeable. But because I'm doing stockinette, it's fairly dense, and so it is showing. It doesn't really bother me, other than it's just a little awkward sometimes to knit some of those stitches with. So that's the one project I've been working on. I haven't done any crocheting this week. The other one is the Hitchhiker. This is for a craft fair in August, which sounds like a long ways away, but it's actually just about a month and a half. So I did do quite a bit on it this week. So this is a pattern by Martina Bem. It is a paid for pattern, but I have done this pattern, oh, I have no idea, probably 6 or 7 times. It's very mindless. Once you get used to it, it's very simple to do. You don't need the pattern in front of you. The pattern calls for these little teeth things. It's a shawlette, so it's going to wrap around your neck like this, so the little teeth kind of show when it wraps around. And I believe there's 40 some of those little teeth, and I am a little more than halfway there. So I am using size 8 needles, and the yarn I am using, this is Shawl in a Ball by Lion Brand, and the color is Cleansing Quartz, and it does have sparklies in it. Don't know how well it's going to show up, but all of these little light bits that are wrapped around it, oh, there you can see it. Those are all silver sparklies. And the Cleansing Quartz, it's all different shades of neutrals, like a charcoal and a tan, all the way through it. So yeah, so it's pretty, and it'll be neutral. And I will say that I won't be doing that again for a craft sale, because knitting is so much longer. I could have had a shawl crocheted by now because this is much denser. So yeah, that'll be the last one of those I will make for the craft fair. So I did think I would show you something, since I don't have any finished objects. I've been doing the story time at church, and so I've been using these little puppets, which you will see later in the week. But I thought I would show you something I made several years ago. I'm not sure how many years ago. It did win a prize at the county fair, and this was a pattern of my own design. If you want this pattern, you can go down in the description box under my patterns, and this is over at Lovecrafts. It is a paid for pattern. I don't remember how much, but it's a little sheep. It's sheep to shawl, because she's knitting, as you can see, little knitting needles here. She is knitting, but she's knitting from her own fleece. Just her fluffy tail is left. So the rest of her has been sheared as she's knitting her little sweater. So yeah, she's soft and cuddly. So up in the craft cave, I have several sheep, because I collected them for a while, and people were giving me sheep like crazy, and we have quite the flock going on up in the craft cave. So yeah, so there is the little sheep that I made. So that's what I've been working on this week. What have you all been working on? Now, if you would like to enter something in for show and tell, because we love to see each other's projects, you can do so. You can either email me at KatrinasCreations@yahoo.com and send me a picture and tell me a little bit about it. You know, what yarn you used, what the pattern is, things like that. You can also message me over at Katrina Knits on Facebook, or you can just post it directly to my Facebook page, which is Katrina Knits over on Facebook, and I will get it there. So we enjoy seeing each other's things, so if you would like to post them, post away. We like to see stuff. So today officially begins Christmas in July. Happy Christmas in July, everybody. And the first 10 days, I'm going to be unboxing, or taking out of the bag, basically, a mini skein every day for the next 10 days. So there will be a video every day until July 10th. Now, if you have not entered the Christmas in July Fairies, that is going on as well. I am one of the fairies in the Christmas in July. So if you would like to enter, it's like a huge grand prize giveaway thing where lots of channels participate. So what that is, you need to go over to my original video, which I will put a link right here, and you can go over there to enter, get the details. Make sure you watch the video because there is something specific you need to put in the comments to be included. And then what happens is on July 10th, I will be drawing a semifinalist. That semifinalist will receive $10 from me via PayPal. If you don't do PayPal, just let me know. We'll figure out something else. I'll just send it to you in the mail or something if I have to. But anyway, yeah, my semifinalist prize will be $10. And then your name will get passed on to Dana's Wanderlust Crochet. She is the person that heads up the Christmas in July Fairies event. And then she will be drawing a name and announcing it at the end of the month. So the person that is the grand prize winner that she draws from gets a prize from all of the participating channels. So yes, it's potentially a very big prize event. So if, like I said, if you haven't entered, go ahead and do so. So I am going to unbox my first thing for this event, my first Christmas in July mini skeins. So I'm mixing them all up in here. These are 10 mini skeins that I got from an Etsy shop. They do all coordinate together. So here is my one for today. They don't have a name on them, but the actual company that I got them from on Etsy is called A Busy Life. And each of the mini skeins are 10 grams, which is roughly 40 yards. They're fingering weight, and they are 80% superwash merino wool. They're very soft, and 20% nylon. And they are 2-ply, and the color that I got was called Winter Minis. So all of these are part of the Winter Minis set. So here is what it looks like. It's lots of like charcoals and blacks, and there's like a little pop of teal in there. So there you can see that. These are going to be put together to make a winter cowl out of them, but I'm going to wait till I finish all of them so that I can make sure I get the colors in the order that I want them in, because I'm going to put the darker ones towards the bottom and work my way up. So I do have a pattern in mind. It is a free pattern that, if you remember the Yakima yarn that I made the scarf from, that was sent to me, the yarn and the pattern was sent to me by a yarn company, a yarn store out in Ohio. Yeah, they have a pattern also for a cowl that's very similar to that scarf. So it's cabled. It's a cabled cowl. So that's what I'm going to be using this yarn for. So that is day number 1. So what am I reading? Well, I finished the Murder, She Wrote book that I was reading, which was Murder on the Emerald Isle. And that was really good. The person that turned out to be the killer was not who I was expecting at all. So it had a total twist at the end, which was always good. And now I'm doing what I always tend to do and have more than one book going at one time, and then I try to keep the plot straight. So I am currently listening to Aunt Dimity and the Widow's Curse, which so far Laurie Shepherd, who's the main character, is in her little town of Finch in the Cotswolds, and they're having a quilting bee. And the lady sitting next to her, her nice little elderly neighbor, casually mentions that she killed her first husband and pushed him down the stairs and buried him in the rose garden. So now Laurie and another neighbor are determined to find out if she's just a little imaginative and out of her mind, or if she really did this, and if she did she ever have to pay for killing her husband? So they're on a mission to find out what really happened to this lady's first husband. So that's how far I have gotten in that book. Then I started reading a book, which is, I can't show you the cover because it's coming from another library, so it's covered up with the little thing they use to send it from one branch to the other. So I am reading Aunt Dimity Goes West. I am totally reading these books out of order at this point. I'm just trying to get them read as I can get them so that I can try to finish the series before I leave the library. Although thankfully the library that is near me does carry most of these books. So whatever I don't get read, I will be able to get from our local library here in Pennsylvania. But in this one, Lori has been a little frazzled since her last mystery. And so she and her husband decides that she and her twin boys should get a break and go to Colorado, to the Rockies, just to have a little leisurely relaxation time, because Lori and her husband are originally from the US. They just live in the Cotswolds. So they're going on a vacation to Colorado, up to the Rockies. And of course, we haven't gotten to the mystery yet, but you know there's going to be one. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a book. So I started that one. And then I have another series that I like to read. This one it's a Maine clam bake mystery. I like mysteries that take place in Maine because that's like my favorite state. And this is I forget how many books. There's like 11 books in the series. And so this one I literally just started. I'm only like into the first chapter. And the main character, Julia, and her family run a clam bake company. It's based off of, well, the town it takes place in is called Busman's Harbor. It's based on Boothbay Harbor in Maine. And the family that runs the Maine clam bake is loosely based on a family clam bake that takes place on Cabbage Island in Maine. So it is based on, you know, the characters and the location are based on real people, but of course the events that take place are all totally fictional. But yeah, there is a clam bake company in Boothbay Harbor that owns their own island where they hold the Maine clam bake. So yeah, I'm kind of assuming that she kind of put them together. So that's always interesting to me because I like to go on Google Maps and find out where the real locations of these places are. So this one I have just gotten started, although a lady died mysteriously 5 years before. And so Julia is helping her mother investigate those circumstances. So that's where I just got started with that one. So that is what I am reading. 3 books at one time and trying to keep the plot straight. Sure, no stress, no problem. Anyway, now it's time for... Now in our Come and Get It section, I don't have too many sales right now, but as I find them, I will pass them on because I have a feeling with July 4th coming that there's going to be some sales. At least I hope there's going to be some sales. But right now what I do know is Lovecrafts has up to 75% off. I'm not sure how long that sale lasts. I looked for an expiration date for the sale, couldn't find it. So if you just click on the link down below to Lovecrafts, it'll pop up and you'll see it. But anyway, it's up to 75% off. And Knit Picks is running their summer sale, which is like their biggest sale of the year. They are running that until July 25th. So the link to that is also down below in the description box. So those are the 2 sales that I know of that are going on right now. I'll fill you in on the others as I find out. Make sure you have registered or entered for the Christmas in July Fairies, and make sure you check back each day to see what I'm getting up to and what I'm opening out of my mystery bag. So that is it for this week. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.